They decided any scene with Bob and me
Remember me?
Sure don't.
had to be a sure route. Please, hurry up.
Cut. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a camera wrap on the creator of Ironman.
We are so lucky. Robert Downey Jr. playing this role. I was born under a lucky star, I gotta tell you. And to be in a scene with him, brief as it was, and I'll talk to them about that later, it was a joy, really a joy. I just love doing cameos because, first of all, there's no real responsibility. We arrive at the place where they're shooting. The director says, go to wardrobe, go to makeup. When I'm all finished, okay, here's your line. That's Captain America. I thought he'd be taller.
I'd like to start with the line collecting. Did it work?
I'm a very good study. I can remember a whole line after reading it 3 or 4 times. Did it work? Superheroes in New York? Give me a break. I mean, I say a line or two if I'm lucky enough to get a line. Sometimes it's just pantomime.
Hold there, Larry King. Larry!
But there I am on the screen, and I'm a big ham, so I love it. Oh, man. I am so fired. I like them all. I mean, as I think of them, each one is my favorite. And shrink! Well, the 60s were fun, but now I'm paying for it. And I love being in the theater and having somebody next to me. Oh, look, that's Stan Lee. I get a big kick out of it. You know what? I think I'll just take these, bring them over here, and hold on for safekeeping. Are you Tony Stank? Oh, man. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, at that time, I was literally best man. I'm trying to tie the universe together by being the one common denominator that we all have. What's the matter with you kids? You never seen a fight before? My cameos are always fun, especially when I do one with Thor. I play a bomber, and I'm about to cut his hair.
Cut something cool. Good.
No! Yes! Hey, you guys, make love, not war. Each one stands out more than the previous one. This is one of the best cameos I've done, let me tell you.
Look at the girl I'm with. You know what I'm saying? She's crazy stupid fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stupid fine.
So fun when you show up in the films. It's really neat.
Well, it was great. I love it. I mean, people are so nice. The fact that I'm working with characters that I've created.
Not your chef.
Who designed me in the room?
By the crimson rings of Zitterock, it's Doctor Strange. And the fact that they are being directed so beautifully. I'll need a writer. I'll try that. I'll need a writer. To work with such professionals, and they all have love of the characters. Chris Evans came over to me like I'm his father. He is so happy to be doing what he's doing. He's so happy to be Captain America. You know, see, nobody's going to recognize you because the expectancy is this big guy. Hey, Chris. Hey, congratulations on the twins. So you say something first.
I say, since age for 1,000 years, a barrel built from the wreck runs those fleets. That's It's not meant for mortal man.
Neither was Omaha Beach, Blondie. Stop trying to scare us. Come on, I don't think of them as cameos, but I'd rather think of it as a supporting role that I
We're all honored, and Stan, thank you so much for being here. It is our absolute pleasure, and forgive us if there's lots of handshakes and autographs now.
I sometimes wonder, did this really all happen?
We're honored.
Things I never thought it would turn into something like this. Just unbelievable. It's indescribable to work with creative people, especially people who make movies. It is such a thrill. It's overwhelming when I think about it. And I keep saying to myself, I can't believe this is me. I can't believe I lucked out this way. It's something you never forget. And thank you for all of this, and I hope that I didn't set interviewing back a few decades. Okay. I'll see you later. Thank you. Appreciate it. I remember every cameo I've done since the first one.
The journey of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe started with the journey of Tony Stark.
Much better than being old. That sound.
Going back to Favreau, Robert Downey Jr. founded moments at Marvel Studios. And we said, we want the hero to be as interesting out of costume as they are in costume.
I had just been hired to cast the first Iron Man. Jon Favreau was on board at that time. I remember asking him, meeting with everyone, tell me all the qualities that you think are most important. Fast, quick-witted, funny, dynamic, in trouble, confident, brilliant, all of these things. And we really kept coming back to Downey.
Stan Lee said, kind of created a mind air. Did you make a billionaire weapons manufacturer, philanthropist, largely this ugly and irresponsible moral psychology. Space, if you look at Downey and his early work, it's amazing. You look at Chaplin, you look at Less Than Zero, tough characters to watch.
Robert Downey Jr. at that point in his career wasn't necessarily a family-friendly name.
Today is ridiculous. But at the time, it was, whoa, risky casting Robert Downey Jr. The truth was, we got to a point that we realized if we didn't cast him, that would have been the biggest risk.
Robert had a whole career of great work behind him. He was at a point in his life, his career, where he was ready to break out and do something really big and exciting.
John was in love with the idea of Downey playing the part. And we all felt so sure about him on a creative level. Because he wasn't instantly a slam dunk approval, I suggested we have screen tests. I remember walking in with Robert Downey Jr. the day of the tests. He was laughing and in great spirits and completely at ease. And he got in front of the camera and started saying lines.
I assure you that big weapons are no longer needed to keep the peace all halfway transition to manufacturing birds and bees or baby hospitals making antmans and the like until the time of I don't want to call it an out-of-body experience, but it was one of those rushes that I'm sure like somebody would feel if they're about to play a big sporting arena, play into the ring or something like that. It was just like, am I going to pass out or am I going to nail this?
On that day, when Robert was screen testing, it was clear that there was no one else who could play the part.
It was magic. It was exactly the feeling as a casting director with Kevin, with John, with everyone, that we all wanted to have that feeling like we have it. This is it. This is our
Iron Man 1 was incredibly special. It was sort of impromptu thing. We laughed, we cried, we got very, very close on that.
We were the first Marvel movie as a studio. There was no real model for it yet. Nobody expected too much of it.
Here's Iron Man. We wanted to make a good quality film, a good story, something that was smart enough, fun enough.
I still remember Tony landing in the high desert of eastern Sierras when he escapes the cave, and I was buried up to my neck in sand, and the storm was coming in, and we only had a couple minutes to get this take, and it was like God's grace just came in and gave us the take that was in the movie. Not bad.
I loved the first movie so much. I was just so carried away by the story. It was funny, it was clever, it was witty.
Let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've done.
By casting Robert Downey Jr., they were intent on breaking
the tradition of these types of movies.
It was an unexpected choice at the time, and so it made for this really dynamic, really surprising performance.
He's so bright, so fast, and it takes you so long to catch up with him. It's perfect for that character.
Good luck keeping up.
I think most of us have been pretty vocal about what he started. Without him, none of us would be in this position.
He really is the patriarch. I think he really understood the weight of the responsibility with these movies.
Iron Man 1 changed the genre. And I think the casting of Robert Downey signaled to the world that we are serious about our characters and we really respect them in a way that we're going to hire the best actors possible.
It really was just this perfect storm. I had hypnotized myself into such a state of confidence that I was certain that everything we were doing worked. And the rest is history. I am.
I'm not sure we could have done this notion of an interlinked Marvel Cinematic Universe without Captain America. Whether it's bit by a spider or exposed to gamma rays, the notion of a superpowered human started with Steve Rogers. He is the backbone of the universe. As we were developing Captain America: The First Avenger, we brought in these two writers named Chris Marcus and Stephen Field. They were the sole writers on the first Captain America. They went on to become the sole writers on Captain America: Winter Soldier, sole writers on Civil War, and now Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. They deserve as much credit for Captain America's Endgame.
When we were talking to them, they had 2 movies. And so the idea that, no, this is going to build into a giant, ongoing, interconnected universe. Sure, of course it will. I have no doubt.
Chris and I sort of coincidentally have been sort of blue skying about, what someone should do? A period superhero movie, right? When they were invented, when they were created, what would it be like to use them at the proper time? And then when we heard that Marvel was going to do that, oh my, we needed to chase that down.
As for the writing, we never worried about the larger universe.
The mission is always make the best movie in front of you, because this whole thing is dependent on making good movies one at a time. We had the same goal in the first Captain America film.
We subtitled the Captain America film The First Avenger for a reason, because putting a star in red, white, and blue on that scrawny kid who yearns to be part of the battle, that is where it all started. We knew that the movie wouldn't work if you didn't buy Steve Rogers at the top.
I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
Well, there are already so many big men fighting this war. Maybe what we need now is a little guy. Huh?
The spectacle and the action sequences only work if you're engaged in the characters. All the visual effects, and it doesn't matter how big your budget is, if you're not engaged in Steve Rogers' Captain America, I think you're wasting your time.
We needed to fall in love with skinny Steve Rogers before he ever became Captain America.
And never forget that he's in it.
Yeah.
The scene amplifies everything that is inside. So good becomes great. Bad becomes worse. This is why you choose. Because a strong man who has known power all his life, he loses respect for that power. But a weak man loses the value of strength.
Steve Rogers, more than any of the other superheroes, really kind of loses who he was in the process of becoming Captain America. The old him ceases to exist. There's no life of Steve Rogers that he looks back in the Avengers. He's the leader because he's completely dedicated to everything, partially because he doesn't have anything else to turn to.
His desire to keep it ordered and to keep some memory, all of that stuff is still an issue for him.
He's always been this very austere kind of guy, but had this real loyalty to institutions, to people. We have orders. We should follow them. Following's not really my style. I think they slowly strip that away from him. He loses his faith in government and Winter Soldier.
loses his faith in his friends and his family in Civil War. I think when we see him in Infinity War, he's just turned his back on a lot of things.
Earth just lost her best defender. So we're here to fight. And if you want to stand in our way, we'll fight you too.
With this movie, they let him kind of return back to that hopeful soldier, leader.
This is the fight of our lives. And we're going to win. Whatever it takes.
When we first met the folks at Marvel, we chased the Captain America job and certainly had no idea that it would lead to the next 10 years of our career.
And we've had Cap most of the way. It's been a lot of fun having someone with that gravity. It's a rare character. You don't get to write that character much anymore.
He's an aspirational figure. It's a combination of where we put him in the universe and Cap rising to the challenge.
You just don't want to give up, do you?
I can do this all day.
When our characters are beginning to come to life, it all starts with our visual development, led by Brian Miner. For the better part of a decade, has been that very important step between the comics and the final product that has brought Captain America to life.
One of the great things about the comics is that Captain America is always designed to read really quickly. And also, because they had limited colors and printing, there's a simplification that happened with a lot of them, that they were just, this guy's red, white, and blue. There's a really fast, iconic thing that happens with the characters as the source material. Trying to bring that into a real setting like for a film, whatever they simplified for the design for the comics, we're trying to fill out in a way that makes it feel real. If they only had line work and 4 colors, and they're able to make something that resonates with people for 60, 70 years, how can we find a way of putting it into our work? In the case with Captain America, we're trying to find reference materials that bring him into sort of a world of a soldier. The first time he puts on the costume in Captain America First Avenger, it's about him being that sort of patriotic icon that's in the USO show. So that was when we were trying to take those really classic and iconic lines that were designed back in the 40s and turn it into something that was always kind of meant to be a little bit goofy. Sort of put him on stage and say, you're a symbol for America, show us how much of a symbol you are.
Not all of us can storm a beach or drive a tank, but there's still a way all of us can fight.
One of the amazing things about being able to work on a character through multiple movies is that you actually get to tell the story of the character through the costume. Seeing Cap's change from Captain America First Avenger through Avengers and into Winter Soldier, for example, is a pretty big visual change. Being a person in the 1940s and coming forward into 2012 and sort of living in that period of time and being a fish out of water, and then sort of acclimating very quickly and becoming this very stealth-oriented, extreme tactical ops person is a crazy change. And it works so well partially because the costume actually reflects what he's going through.
What made Cap unique in the Marvel universe and the nature of his powers? He's sort of basically a man on himself. His fighting technique is very visceral, surprising experience of action. From a visual standpoint, you take the script and you identify three great moments in the movie, and you take a brilliant artist like Ryan. He said, here's what we're looking for from this moment. And Ryan draws up the colors and it's a beautiful, frame from the movie.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
They do incorporate lighting, they incorporate strong visual element. Where will the camera be in a very sort of dynamic and specific moment? And that does inspire the movie.
For Captain America, almost every iconic sequence came right out of Ryan's original drawings, where he was just by himself with his drawing pad and his computer.
I've been at Marvel for about 12 years, which is almost the entire time that Marvel Studios has existed. There's a sort of a craziness to the notion that I've been able to stay with the character over the course of 9 years. Being that sort of medium between the comics and what is actually on screen has been a joy that I couldn't imagine.
When we really
I think there's a confidence that he really brings to the character and an integrity that people really respond to.
There's something so endearing, so charismatic, so charming. He has so much heart, something very heroic.
There is something that he brings to the character beyond what we could write on the page, beyond what we could illustrate in, special effects, that is uniquely present.
It's no secret, I love Chris Evans. And I love Captain America. Captain America was the single hardest character to launch in this universe. This kind of guy out of time, and is it too retro? Are people going to get it?
I cannot imagine anybody but Chris playing this role. It's a very difficult role to play because on one hand, this character has this very strong moral compass. You try to think, where's the conflict in that?
He allows himself to be vulnerable. He allows himself to not take it so seriously. It makes you love that character, and it makes people want to follow him.
That's been really great watching him sort of pull this off. What he does in his movies may look effortless, but it's effortless because it's a testament to what he's done with the character.
It's tough to try and present challenges to someone who is so selfless. The biggest worry is not only trying to make the guy entertaining, but also keep him interesting enough to have audiences want him coming back.
Every time I see Evans, he's like more and more like Cap. It's like we've invested in him with that. Then Chris is up for that because that's what makes it exciting and different. There's this huge amount of love for the character. There's 20 Captain America shirts where it's ceased to become just about him and how well he can have a role and all this stuff. It's become part of our culture just as a symbol. It's that thing that gives you those kind of teenage goosebumps.
I think we have a lot of emotional invested in the character. We have a lot of emotional invested in Chris as a friend, a collaborator. It's a proud moment to be able to sit back and look at the perspective, the journey that character's gone.
You're looking at yourself in this old makeup, and you're trying to tap into Steve's journey. You can't help but think about your own and think about what this entire experience has meant to you. It's just been littered with so many good memories.
Never want to work with these kids, but I'll get them.
It is because of this journey of just such an embarrassment of riches, and such good fortune, and just good luck. And again, it's just so unblemished because there's so many wonderful people around me. This has been such an incredible chapter in my life.
Love to take this character in every different direction. I think she certainly encounters her fair share of the Marvel Universe. It's nice to be able to play a superheroine who has a past. You know, she obviously has been around for over, 40 years. And I think has a real foundation for all different kinds of spin-offs or interactions with other characters. I think that the possibilities are really endless.
The part that appealed to me most about her was her dedication and just her intelligence. I think you need smart people in a movie like that. There's too much up for grabs. There's too many things that change. You need somebody who's going to be a steward of their character.
Coordinate all access to the track and through the airspace when there needs.
You got it? No. Scarlett was just a dream. She's so game. And she had a really good time doing it. Unlike some of us older curmudgeons, there's very little you can do to get under her skin. She's just constantly professional.
I love playing this character. When we first met Natasha and Ironman 2, she was Natalie. We got to see her kind of undercover work, and it wasn't until the end of that when her true identity was revealed as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You are mind-blowing counselors. How do you do it? You just tear things up. You're a triple imposter. I've never seen anything like it. Is there anything about you? Do you even speak Latin? Which means, wait, what? What'd you just say?
It means you can either drive yourself home or I can have you collected. In Avengers, we see, of course, her in her own environment.
Just like Budapest all over again.
You and I remember Budapest very differently.
We get to see a little bit more of who she is, a little bit of her history, of her kind of shady past. I got red in my ledger. I'd like to wipe it out.
Can you wipe out that much red? Dracov's daughter, Sao Paulo, the hospital fine. Your ledger is dripping. It's gushing red.
You pretend to be separate, to have your own code, something that makes up for the horrors. But they are part of you, and they will never go away.
With the second cap, the character starts to question her own identity, question her own choices.
I thought I knew as I was telling her. I guess I can't tell the difference anymore.
She's an isolated character. Cap doesn't know whether he can trust her or not, so she is not part of the family per se because she's never been taught to rely on anyone other than herself, and she has a view of the world that is skeptical and cynical, and her and Cap grow over the course of that movie, and she teaches her trust.
You know, it's kind of hard to trust someone you don't invest in the movie is.
What do you want me to do?
How about a friend?
There's a chance you might be in the wrong business, Rogers.
In Avengers 2, she really allowed herself to want things and to envision a life for herself outside of things that have kind of fallen upon her. Exactly.
We realized how strong she was to come out the other side and to be a part of this very heroic team.
Her past is something that's always been shrouded in mystery, and we continue to open up the story, give little kind of tidbits, and throw the bone out once in a while as to where she came from and what her background is.
I had this dream, the kind that seems normal all the time. But when you wake,
What did you dream?
that I was an avenger. That I was anything more than the assassin they made me.
In the Civil War, she starts to realize that the Avengers are her family, and she makes a choice to try to preserve the family.
We've made some very common mistakes. We need to win our trust back.
That's what makes this character really heroic, is that she's kind of dug her heels in and said, look, I could kind of go down this road, which would be the more desirable personally, and disappear and live off the map, but she chooses this kind of greater calling.
Just because it's the path of least resistance doesn't mean it's the wrong path. Staying together is more important than how we stay together.
Part of the reason why the Avengers failed in Infinity War is because they were divided, because of the fallout of Civil War.
Natasha's a very strategic fighter, and she, I think, is really just trying to give whatever she can in order to save as many people as possible. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. Thanos wiped out 50% of all living creatures.
At the beginning of anything, she wants to bring it all back because she feels like it is the strongest emotional connection that she's ever had in her life.
She's struggling to deal with the fact that they lost. And she hasn't stopped. 5 years later, she's still fighting to figure out how to fix this problem. And she hasn't let go. She has to do everything in her power to undo what Thanos did.
She's presented with a choice, which is to give her own life to bring everyone else back, and she does it, which is the single most heroic moment in the history of the Marvel Universe.
I actually think that in some weird, and it is a very initial thing, but some weird, twisted up, fateful way, this character who, has searched her whole life for purpose actually finds her purpose. And it's like this amazing, super emotional, beautiful thing.
I don't judge people who make those mistakes.
Maybe you should.
You did.
I feel very fortunate. It's been an incredible gift as an actor to be able to come back to a character that's as complex as Natasha. I think there's kind of a lot to explore there, and that is so exciting.
middle as our heroes are running this way and this way.
I remember the first couple days on Winter Soldier. It really felt like the new kids on the playground. Everything they said they were going to do, they delivered. Their attitude kind of breeds this sort of lightness on set.
They're the filmmakers that took the Captain America series and elevated it to Winter Soldier.
You gotta know Captain. This is the first time.
But then did it again. Civil War film is gigantic.
This is gonna be a great shot.
We were midway through production on Civil War, and we saw the amazing job that Anthony and Joe were doing, handling all these different characters, telling this very unique story.
It's going kind of this way right now.
I mean, we were on ahead of the next Avengers film, because then we started talking to them about coming from Civil War on to Infinity War.
We had no time to settle between Civil War and Infinity War. As we were conceiving and executing Civil War, the end of that movie was very much a setup for what these movies would be. We always had that sense of that. Even not having a break, I think we're able to move forward because there is such a continuity narrative.
The scope of the film, I think, is unrivaled. And really, the only way the film could be made was in the hands of Anthony and Joe Russo.
That's an E+ for an even shot.
I was really blown away by how culturally powerful it was. I'd never seen a reaction like that in a movie.
Infinity War takes people on an epic quest that does everything from entertain and enlighten to devastate and emotional. The success of that film is certainly a testament to the Russo brothers as a director team. There's no doubt he's not, and his cast.
You look at Infinity War, you're in the hands of master filmmakers. It is truly remarkable.
Slow it down just a hair and just turn it into a little
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, here we go.
We talk a lot about the culmination of Avengers. We wanted to do a great finale that not only had a spectacle worthy of Infinity, but with sequences and scenes and character interactions that could only be done with Joe and Anthony. They're the only directors that can handle this many characters and doing this ambitious of a story that needs to pay off every film that we've ever made in one climactic conclusion, while at the same time introducing an entirely new direction for the future.
When we were thinking about these two Avengers films, we came up with this idea. Let's shoot them together. And it seemed like a great idea at the time, but it's impossible to juggle one story and the idea of two stories this complicated, figuring out what they are, how they intertwine. Russo's so adept at handling complicated storylines.
You know, after the camera looks to you,
Yeah.
so take it through fresh, then ask what's here.
You have to understand what makes each character unique, what special qualities they bring to it, how they can shine.
It's pretty amazing watching these brothers like create these amazing, powerfully epic tales.
Just the badass delivery.
You feel very, safe and taken care of, and at the same time you feel like you can contribute.
I'm clearly charting the course, and then you just come in and start charting the course. Like, what are we doing?
The magic trick is that they're working with so many actors that have, their own relationships with the characters that come from their own sort of parts of the universe, and to make that all into something that feels cohesive is incredible.
So it's all one piece. So
Get focused at the end of it. Go back to the stakes.
They have done the unthinkable, really. I mean, it's not just two movies back to back, it's the two biggest movies of all time, and they've been at the helm the whole time, without fail.
They love these characters, and they know these characters inside and out.
Anthony and Joe, they've essentially been on a job for 6-7 years now, and I love them, and they love the Avengers.
Joe and I have always loved to figure out how do we take the character and how do we take the audience, how do we take ourselves on a surprising journey that is not holding anything back.
As you progress through films like that, your job as directors gets bigger and bigger. You really have an amazing team that allow us to focus on the bigger picture, so we're very happy with this experience.
It's been really exciting to get to work with some of the actors from different franchises that I have just admired. I guess you would say are sort of an extended family. And then, of course, there's new characters that are also being introduced to the family.
Where are you going?
To kill Thanos. Certainly great to see that the audiences are embracing and even asking for, begging for really strong female superheroes. It's wonderful to feel like you've witnessed and been a part of that growth.
I'm always picking up after you boys. I think one of the dangers of playing a kick-ass chick is that you just mimic what you've only seen kick-ass men do.
You show me a punch.
That's how you punch. It's really important for me to find the voice and the rhythm and the style and the meaning of what it means to be a powerful woman, and that be its own distinct thing.
I so enjoyed being able to be a piece of the puzzle that was a woman who was the head of an army and who was the right-hand man of the leader. And seeing how that resonated was very humbling, very moving.
Women are demanding equality in the workplace, whether you're in a superhero costume or an office job. And I think Marvel is doing a great job of amplifying that in the films and representing that properly. And that's beautiful.
Every morning I think about every way that I can help women have representation and be out there in the world. And I think for me it's important for women to know that it can be done.
Hi, Peter Parker.
Hey, Peter Parker. You got something for me?
Our goal with Endgame was to provide a climactic conclusion to the journey that the MCU has been on for these 11 years now. And so we spent a lot of time looking backwards at the journey that the overarching narrative has taken and all the characters that have been a part of that story. And I remember it just dawning on me yesterday, just like the sheer number of amazing female characters that were now in the MCU was just so exciting and impressive with all of this. I mean, we really looked for an opportunity to just celebrate that.
You get to see this really beautiful thing, which you kind of get a taste of with Avengers Infinity War as well, which is very powerful people meeting each other. Powerful people all being in one room. Powerful people that all have very specific skills working together to form a team. We have a smaller moment in the Wakanda field in Infinity War where we have Okoye, Natasha, and Wanda teaming up to fight Fatima. And that moment in the trench was pretty spectacular to see when we were shooting Infinity War. And we wanted a little bit more of that in Avengers 4.
Don't worry.
She's got hills. It was really beautiful to feel this sort of Marvel sisterhood, you know, and we're all coming from so many different films that we all came together. It's kind of like, I see what you did. I know your powers. Okay, show me what you got. And then we just clicked. And we were just like cheering each other on.
Everyone's just kind of taking their turns moving around, trying to help each other out. It's so fun.
You share.
Exactly. So there's a connection without ever having met. It's a really cool thing about that.
That day was insane. We were all in it together and it felt electric. It was really, really cool.
You know, I normally don't watch playback on the monitor, but I wanted to see that reveal of all the women of Marvel, and I thought it was really powerful and really exhilarating, and I was thinking of all of the young girls in the audience who will probably feel really inspired by that in one way or another, so it was a really nice thing to be a part of.
And it's exciting because all of us are saying, I've never experienced this before. I've never been in a film with this many women and this many strong women who stand equal to the men.
There is something very powerful and we're realizing it more and more, just how magical it is to allow women to express their full gamut of their power and their abilities as a unit.
He's pissed. Thinks he failed.
Thor has suffered tremendous loss, more so than any other character. Asgard has been destroyed. Now he has to suffer the loss of Thanos. How does a person who suffered two devastating losses like that move forward? How will he process that?
Every aspect to him was broken. Some tragic things have happened, and he's decided, you know what? I'm just gonna check out and eat pizza and drink beer, and that's what he's done, you know?
You all right? Yes, fine. Why? Don't look all right? You look like melted ice cream. So what's up? You just here for a hang?
He's a very depressed, sort of removed Thor, becoming the opposite of what we know in the past.
Don't you think I'm down here wallowing in self-pity, feeling sorry for myself, hoping to be rescued, hoping to be saved, but you're wrong. Okay?
But the great thing about Thor is, like, there's something in his spirit that stands in contrast to where he's let himself go physically and emotionally.
Is beer in the ship?
What kind?
Being able to do this new version of Thor, it's hugely liberating and fun. We had a big set of fat suit, which I think was sort of 60 or 70 pounds.
That's the shimmy.
It was the hottest I've ever been.
Oh, I mean, amazing. Looks like it's
And we had obviously the beard, the hair, and had this thing to go in your mouth and kind of plump out my cheeks a bit, which sort of had a little effect on the voice as well. But albeit in a good way, it was a different Thor. Ironman was Thor, the Asgard,
We're shooting a superhero film, and here's one of those recognizable superheroes, but he's just turned into a new character. What Chris does with that character and how it just kind of has this shift. His excitement was really palpable.
We've been playing the character for a while and really need to find something new. He has such dexterity as a talent. He's incredibly funny. He's just really lovely energy.
Is he asleep?
No, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Thor's new look will seem like it's been played for laughs, but thanks to the performance that Chris Hemsworth gives, it becomes very touching.
Let me do this. Let me do something right.
And we see over the course of the film how he tries to regain his sense of purpose and regain his sense of redemption.
At the end of the day, even though he's carrying a lot of weight, he's still the Thor that we love.
He's still with me.
The Avengers pull him back in to have a sense of humor when he finally comes around. He's a full-on Avenger with a carrying another 80 pounds.
Look at the first couple of steps. I thought I was joking. I'm going to come so quick.
Maybe you want to give it back a try.
Oh, yeah. It felt like I was playing a completely different character. It was a real opportunity that just kind of swayed for the fences. It was, what do you think is causing my things?
Cocoa Puffs, nachos, embarrassing.
Whining.
It's been a woman in dance, so it's some sort of terrible. In the past few weeks, it didn't seem to matter that much. Figured I'd wait. For what? Right part.
The central conflict in this team is the desire to serve, and that desire to serve would supersede his personal identity.
He's got an amazing set of morals and values. He's an incredibly good man, given the hand that life has dealt him. Dr. Erskine knows that if this guy's given this great gift, he won't take advantage of it. He understands how to value what he has because he didn't always have it.
The common issue among all the Marvel heroes is that they have a very vulnerable side to them, and Steve Rogers is certainly no exception to that. He is probably the most vulnerable before he becomes.
Oh, you say something?
I said I want to claw my eyes out, but unfortunately it wouldn't do anything because I already saw the awfulness. Will you focus? I'm focused. This pretty place is about to get uglified real quick by a bunch of freaking elves.
Do you know, and I saw all these people die.
Nobody pull on the tree. Warm your butt cheeks up. Warm up your butt cheeks.
There you go.
I broke it.
The thing about time travel,
Es uno por todos filmables, filmables. I can't believe I made a whole movie with this thing.
Yeah, does it look cool or doesn't feel cool, but if it looks cool, that's what matters.
Look, the idea. What's coursing through my vein right now?
Funyuns.
Yes.
Orange soda?
We are getting the whole team, aren't we? A duck!
Good.
See that deal on there? 10 years of it.
Her synaptic drive was probably damaged in battle. Her synaptic drive was probably damaged in battle.
Are you sure? Did you notice? Big Star-Lord's here! Whoa!
I feel like I've given you all you could ever want.
God, seems like 1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave. Became Iron Man. Realized I loved you. I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
The really unique thing about Endgame for Joe and I was that this movie was the ending.
Marvel and Kevin Feige have certainly done something singular in cinematic history. We really want to bring that same experience to the audience. We want them to feel the fullest range of emotion because we feel like that creates the most complete ending.
Our goal was to deliver an experience that felt very satisfying, surprising, yet fitting ending to this narrative that they've been following for these many years and these characters that they've loved for so long.
Avengers!
Assemble.
It's about as massive a production as you can mount. You really have to have an incredible team of collaborators that you've been working with, so it's been a very special experience for us.
There's an energy here on set that comes from everybody's dedication, character, and belief in what we're doing, and that what we're doing is important and matters to people. Everybody recognizes, I think, in the cast what an amazing opportunity these movies are, and they know that it's going to take everybody's best effort to pull them off properly. So the collaborative energy that every one of these actors brings to set every day is really remarkable and a big part of the magic of these movies.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is
These are all people that for literally the last 7 years, uninterrupted, we have been collaborating.
They've been like family to us. We're going to miss everything.
This has been such a rare opportunity. It's the opportunity of a career. And I think we look at it like that, and I think everybody involved does. So this time that we've spent at Marvel is irreplaceable.